Welcome to Football Game Plan's Best Bets. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and as always, we have an action-packed show lined up for you guys today, and we're going to talk college football as well as NFL against the spread. But let's take a look at what I've learned so far this football season going against the spread. What we've learned so far in this unique year of football, at least on the college side, is that you should feel comfortable in trusting the home favorites. For whatever reason, maybe it's due to the COVID protocols, home teams are winning outright and for the most part are covering the spread. However, it is best to get on the line later in the week, as we've already seen with many teams in college football, games get canceled without notice because of contact tracing. Also on the college side, Army football may be the safest and most consistent bet of the season, as the Black Knights look really strong this year. Their triple option offense is able to possess the football for long periods of time, and their defense this year has been excellent. If you want a safe team to add to your parlay, roll with the Black Knights of West Point. And on the NFL side, and this may be true up until about week 3 or 4, is a points extravaganza out there on game day. So taking the over number in a lot of cases has proved to be good money so far this season. Usually we'll see defenses get out of the gate early on the offense, but because of no preseason game and a no normal offseason, everyone is stumbling a bit out of the gate. So we've seen a lot of points being scored in the NFL. Now let's jump into some college football games for this weekend, starting with Appalachian State and Marshall. This one will be one of the better matchups of the weekend, and both teams are evenly matched. Marshall's quarterback Grant Wells burst onto the scene in their opener against Eastern Kentucky, and I don't think that was a fluke either. He and running back Brendan Knox, along with a solid defense, will be able to pull off the upset against the Mountaineers. Texas State has been very close to winning both of their games this year, with last week's matchup against UTSA going into overtime. Now that's 2 tough losses so far, and they face a UL-Monroe offense with the stud running back in Josh Johnson and tight end in Jacob Peterson. I would take ULM in the points here. The Warhawks should be able to control the tempo and the pace in this ball game. South Florida travels to Notre Dame, and this one comes down to point of attack play for me. The Bulls just don't match up well against the Irish in that regard, so expect a big day for Notre Dame tailback Kyron Williams on the ground once again. UCF heads to Atlanta to take on a Georgia Tech team fresh off of an upset win against Florida State. Now, the Knights love to play with the proverbial chip on their shoulder in all of their non-conference games, especially against Power 5 opponents, so this is their Super Bowl, to put it nicely. Plus, expect their defense to make things very difficult for the Yellow Jackets' talented true freshman QB, Jeff Sims. Tulsa and Oklahoma State meet up in Stillwater, and we should see a ton of points scored in this ball game. So firstly, take the over, and second, lay the 23 points with Oklahoma State, as they are loaded on the offensive side of the ball with game-breaking type talent at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. And in the spotlight game of the week, Miami travels to Louisville. This is another game where the over number should be able to hit. 2 excellent quarterbacks face off in this game, with the Hurricanes' De'Ara King and Mikael Cunningham of Louisville. So it'll come down to the wire in my opinion, but I do like the Louisville offense a bit more than Miami, so I'm laying the points with the Cardinals. Be sure to order your copy of the Go-Go Offense by Coach Brennan Marion on footballgameplan.com/GoGoOffense. Coach Marion goes through the ins and outs of his explosive offense, one that's tearing up the college football field and putting a lot of points on the scoreboard. Again, you can order your copy at footballgameplan.com/GoGoOffense. Welcome back to Best Bets. So let's tackle some Week 2 NFL games, starting in Philly, where the Eagles play host to the Rams. And Philly does get back Lane Johnson this week, which should help out a ton up front. Now, on the other side of the ball, I worry about the linebacking core, and that's the matchup in the passing game I believe the Rams will try to exploit. In a pick'em game, I'm taking Los Angeles. Carolina takes on Tampa Bay in an NFC South matchup. We saw the Panthers offense hit the ground running last week against the Raiders, and we saw the Bucs offense struggle. We also saw the Panthers defense struggle, so look for this to be a get-right game for Tampa Bay offensively. However, I do think the Panthers will be able to score and keep this game tight, so I'm taking Carolina and the points. I am also taking the Giants in the points in their game against the Chicago Bears. I like how this offense was able to operate in the passing game, and defensively, they should be able to affect the pocket enough versus Mitch Trubisky. This is more of a 3-point type game, not the 5.5 that the line suggests. Baltimore travels to Houston, and the Ravens look as strong of a team in the NFL along with the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think they'll have any issues with the Texans in this ball game. We saw this matchup last year, so I feel comfortable laying the points with the Ravens. Monday night, you have the Saints traveling to Vegas to take on the Raiders, and the Saints defense will be the story in this ball game. They'll be able to slow down that Vegas offense, but I don't feel the same thing about the Raiders defense against Drew Brees, so lay the points with New Orleans. A young offense in Denver has to face a potent pass rush in Pittsburgh, whose defense overall is in mid-season form. I thought Big Ben started to get his football legs underneath him as that Giants game went on Monday night, and I think they'll hit the ground running versus the Broncos. The Cowboys really didn't play a bad game against the Rams. I actually thought they played well enough to win that one. The matchup here that has me laying the points with Dallas is their offense versus the Falcons' young secondary, and that Cowboys defensive line versus the Falcons' offensive front that had issues in protection last weekend. The 49ers and Jets meet up at MetLife Stadium this week, and the Jets need to figure things out offensively pretty quickly. Unfortunately, this is the worst week to try to do so, as the Niners' defense is one of the best in the NFL. Jacksonville and Tennessee should be one of the more fun games to watch this weekend. The Jags are out to prove that last week wasn't an aberration, but more of a sign of things to come this year. Now, Ryan Tannehill protects the football a lot better than Phillip Rivers, so that'll be the difference in this one. I'm laying the points with Tennessee. Kansas City is an 8.5-point favorite against the Chargers, who struggle to find points against the Bengals defense. So this may be the biggest mismatch on Sunday, so try and get to this number early before it gets any higher. Buffalo's defense and offensive line did a great job last week against the Jets. Quarterback Josh Allen also had his best day as a pro as well. Look for that success to carry over into this week, as the Dolphins, still without a running game, won't be able to sustain drives against the Bills. Minnesota takes on Indianapolis, and the Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins has to play better. So does Phillip Rivers, who had a costly turnover against Jacksonville. Now, while I think they'll lean more on the run game this week, for Indy, I think it will be the Colts defense as a reason why they will be able to cover against the Vikings. The Lions were so close to knocking off the Bears in week 1, and now face the Packers, who are coming in red hot after their big time win against Minnesota. This could be a situation where a team lets one loss become 2, so I'm laying those 6 points with Green Bay. Washington was able to upset Philly last weekend, covering their 6-point spread, and they entered this week as 6.5-point underdogs against Arizona. We'll see if the Washington offense can start the game better than it did last weekend, but I do know this: their defense will be ready to keep it close against Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. And finally, the Patriots travel out to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. And last week versus Miami, their defense wasn't really challenged by Dolphins offense. Trust that won't be the case against Russell Wilson and Seattle, so I'm laying the points with the Hawks on Sunday night. So that's it for this week's episode of Football Game Plan's Best Bets. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Be sure to follow me on all of my social media accounts, and don't forget to check out and subscribe to the Football Game Plan Network, located at youtube.com/footballgameplan. Also subscribe on iTunes to Football Game Plan Podcast and leave us a 5-star rating.